development program. So, so what is the Transportation Career Development Program? This is the co-op that Ahmed and myself and many others here did back in the past. And yeah, so it is three companies that get together, a governmental agency, a consulting company, and a contractor who partnership and hire a civil engineer student. And this student rotate between these co-ops or between this, yeah, between the jobs. So it seems like every year or so, they have different companies. And this time, the companies that we're going to work is DMTO, this is the governmental agency. The consulting company, it's us, Dylan, and the contractor would be two different companies. I go work for McLean Taylor Construction, and Ahmed go work for GIP. So for those who doesn't know McLean Taylor, it is a heavy civil contractor, and they are specialized in construction of bridges, culverts, buildings, reservoirs, and water treatment chambers. So what they expect from us co-op students is more like a hands-on type of thing. So I talked to another student who worked for them, and it is basically a labor job. That's what I'm gonna do there. But you know what? It's gonna be experience. Sure, it's gonna be interesting. And they have a bunch of projects. They're from St. Mary's. They have projects all over the place. And for those who live in London, that underpass that they are doing on Adelaide Street, Adelaide and Oxford, they are the ones doing that one. I'm not sure if they are the general contractor, subcontractor, but I know they are doing job there. They're working there. Okay, so GIP, that is the contractor that Ahmed is gonna work for. I don't know a lot of them, a lot about them. So I know they are also a heavy civil contractor. They are specialized in demolition, shoring, and foundations. Um, I'm not really sure what Ahmed is gonna, uh, what kind of job he's gonna perform over there, but we know that he's gonna perform some visits, some site visits, some tender drawings, some cost estimates, some drafting, and I know they are the ones working with us on the Highway 3 widening. So yeah, I know that Ahmed had already opportunity to, let me probably say hi to one of the guys when he had a site visit over there. Yeah, Veronica.
Sorry, I just wanted to interrupt you because I also wanted to let you know that Colonel Talbot Kislam that you started working on is also a project that we're working with GIP on. So they'll be starting construction on that next spring, as well as they're also starting construction on our Dorchester Road underpass replacement interchange reconfiguration. So it'd be awesome, Ahmed, if you're actually able to work on one of those projects.
Yeah.
Also, think Matthew worked for GIP for a time, so maybe he can, I see his hands up, so maybe he can tell you what he did there.
Yeah, I don't want to hijack your presentation here. You working for the London office, Ahmed?
Yeah, by Clark Road.
Yeah. So basically, you're a junior superintendent. So any projects that they're working on, when I was there, unfortunately, you don't see a lot of the highway projects because they are mostly controlled out of the Windsor office, at least when I worked for them. London was a much smaller office, but they worked on a lot of the arterial road projects. And then there were a lot of small private projects that were going on. Kislam, you and Ahmed may actually cross paths again while you're working on your co-op because McLean Taylor and GIP now, when I worked for them, it was Coco, did a lot of work together. They Coco, well, yeah, they did all the paving for a bunch of culvert replacements that McLean Taylor was on, or McLean Taylor was the lead on, as well as I think it was the 402 ramp that was coming into London. They were redoing work there and GIP. So yeah, you basically work as a junior superintendent. They give you a pickup truck. You drive around a lot. Before they get to know you, though, things may be a little boring. I spent 2 weeks working nights just looking after equipment so that they could keep a road closed or a lane closure on the 402. Was kind of cool though, because they handed me the keys to every piece of equipment there and said, hey, if you feel like it, give her a shot. So definitely got to drive some cool things while I worked there. Skid steers, front end loaders, basically anything I wanted to get my hands on, they would. If they trusted you enough, they'll give you the keys to it. So that was always fun. But yeah, it's an interesting position. You learn a lot about construction. Just be prepared to work long hours, unfortunately.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah,
The
thank
long
you.
hours are always good though, because you get a pretty good paycheck then, which is nice when you're a student.
That is good.
It was definitely good money for sure. But yeah, there was a lot of good learning opportunities that I definitely got out of there, how things work and how things how the contractor works and progresses through a job, through scheduling, estimation, everything, which was all really good stuff that I carried forward and still use sometimes today.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Veronica. So, of course, the governmental agency that we work for, and it is MTO, and they are the responsibles for the provincial highway network. I believe we all here know MTO very much. And yeah, so when we, or at least when I was working over there, it was not very different than the things I did over here. It was a little bit of design, a little bit of lots of stuff, and which is interesting that I got to work briefly, of course, in the Highway 401 Colonel Talbot, and right now I'm doing the same, but in a different way, but we're working in the same project. So it's quite interesting. And yeah, if I was going to work for GIP, then maybe I would get to work for them in the same project. That would be that would be really cool. Some of the other stuff, some of the other projects I work at MTO was the Highway 3 rehab by Cayuga, and some increase of the limit speed in 401 and some other highways. So yeah, it was interesting. And the consulting company, it is Dillon. So Dillon plans and design and manages Canadian offshore infrastructure in three key areas: transportation, environmental facilities, and utilities. And the duties that we students have been doing here is mostly, at least for me, mostly designing. Yeah, so it's very similar to what I did at MTO, but I've been learning so much. It's been really interesting. I don't know what different things Emma did, but I can talk for myself. It is similar than MTO, but at the same time different. I don't even know how to put this in words, but it's been really good and really interesting. And again, I got to work for the same project that I work at MTO, which is the 401 Colonel Talbot. So yeah, it's really good to see that project actually moving forward. So this is the timeline of how the co-op, how this career development career program works. So I started on fall 2021 college. So it was fall and winter, and the first summer I worked last year, I worked for MTO, and then this summer working for Dylan. And so my last day here is September 1st, and the following week I start at McLean Taylor. So it's gonna be busy times. I say goodbye to some people, and nice to meet you to other people. So it's gonna be interesting. And the next year, I graduate on August. So yeah, it's 3 years of busy times.
Yeah, so I'll chime in from the Western perspective. Uh, Obviously different scheduling and whatnot. First summer, the ministry, and then the next summer with the consultant, and then following this, it'll be the next summer on the contractor side with GIP. And then after that, there's always opportunities to expand that towards a long-term internship, um, either with the following companies or with an external company of your choice. But obviously, that's subject to your own scheduling. So it could just follow with the fourth year in university. Okay, so just wrapping up the overall benefits that we feel we were exposed to and uh, sort of worked with is just the broad exposure to both design and construction from both the consultants and the governments and the consultant side, sorry, contractor side. Knowing basic project management and how to prepare contracts, site investigations, field assessments. I know that my time at the ministry working in geotech, I did a lot of pavement evaluations, both on 401 and Highway 3. Just general collaborative skills and communication skills working with so many different people, and the technical skills that come with CAD, since there's a bit of a learning curve, obviously, as a student or an intern or otherwise. Okay, so that's about the gist of it. Just going to open the floor to discussion if anybody had any questions relating to the program or the timeline or the companies. Yeah, Heidi, go ahead.
So Ahmed, I heard that like usually when I talk to Western students, they're not really aware of this program until it's kind of too late. So I was wondering how you heard of the program, and then afterwards, Kislam, I was wondering how they marketed it at Fanshawe.
Yeah, great question. This was in first year design. It's called ES 1050. It's a general first year design course. All students take throughout the entire year, full credit. And it was just advertised in a random MS Teams announcement. And I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. I'll apply. And yeah, it worked out in the end. Kizzle?
Yeah, so at Facial, we have a website, a co-op website, where they post all the jobs available. And one of the many ones was this one. And yeah, I know that if I am not wrong, about more than 60 people applied for this co-op. And yeah, so it was busy.
Pretty competitive. And
Yeah.
Ahmed, was it kind of the same from the Western side? Was it competitive as well?
I want to say about 20, 30 people. I want to say there's less like exposure from the civil side as a first year student at Western in comparison to Fanshawe, because Fanshawe students are already in the program for good. So a lot of the people that I was competing with, I'd say, I already know like in person, like they're my friends. And I know other students also in the same rotations.
Thank you.
To add on to that, Ahmed, do you have any suggestions of how we can market it better to first year at Western? I guess the reason I'm asking is because first year at Western, it's general engineering year. So you have everybody who's interested in electrical, mechanical, software, etc. So how do you focus on the civil people?
So beforehand, after I got this sort of Teams announcement, we do have a job board at Western where it was completely advertised. There were info sessions from participants from the ministry. I think Natalie Blanchard here from Dillon was also in this info session, and I believe Eric Hickey from Coco at the time was also there. So just general info sessions that helped give the gist of what it involves working as a student for consultants and the government and contractor side. Yeah, Hannah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I didn't participate in this program at Western, but I wanted to. I had like an interview for just a different co-op position at the MTO, and then I got the interview for this program later, but I got the other co-op, so I didn't want to decline that co-op and chance it. So maybe advertising earlier could be better as well for this. And I think they advertise it in our like statics class in first year, which is the most civil related course. So that's how I kind of knew about it.
Yeah.
And Hannah, do you feel like if you did get into the transportation rotation, things would have ended up different, or would you still have come with Dillon, or otherwise you think that helped like shaped your options after grad?
Well, I was in traffic engineering at the MTO, so kind of like learned about the MTO and how it works. And then I would have liked to be in the development program because my next co-op was COVID summer. So a lot of people weren't hiring. So I actually didn't have any experience in like civil. I just got a regular random job that summer. So it would have been nice to be part of the program, but yeah, it was kind of nice, at least for me. I had that experience at the MTO by myself, but other people who didn't wouldn't have gotten as much transportation experience, I don't think.
Yeah, totally. Thanks, Hannah. Okay, so going back to the agenda now. Kism, if you want to stop sharing there.
Sorry, can I ask one more question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely.
So I know both of you haven't finished all of your co-ops. You still have one outstanding, but do you guys already kind of have a sense of what you're really interested in transportation, or are you still unsure and waiting for the last one to kind of figure it out? I'm just kind of curious in terms of, I knew what I wanted to do and I did the rotating program still, but I already knew what I wanted to do. So I'm just curious.
Sure. I'll go ahead first. Well, I do have that last rotation, yeah, with GIP. Based off what Matt said, I don't think it'll shape much from the engineering side of things, but definitely more towards project management and working with people on site. So it's a good experience, but I believe I would go into transportation, yeah, because I do have that exposure beforehand, but I'm 2 years out from my graduation in my case, so I'm always open to more options as things come along. Kism?
Yeah, so I am very curious to know how things are going to be at McLean Taylor, but I find this design thing very interesting, and I don't know if at McLean Taylor I'm going to totally change my mind, but if I can do something related to what I'm doing right now, that would be awesome. Yeah. I do have a question for people here who did the same program we are doing. Did you guys do the same rotations, or was totally different companies? Like, was it for sure MTO, but what other, was it different consulting or maybe a different contractor?
I can speak for when I was at Fanshawe. I didn't get to do the program because I apparently was not good enough for it. Um, no, I was the same as Hannah. I had applied for the program and just kept waiting and waiting and seeing my window slip of getting a co-op and losing out on one or two jobs to other folks, and just said, well, I'm going with what's safe. I had a friend who worked at GIP, and he called somebody, and next thing you know, I was a student for them. But when I did apply for it, it was the same three. I would have been MTO, Dylan, and McLean Taylor. Carlos, who just left, actually did do that rotation, if I remember correctly. I know he had a co-op with Dylan, and that's kind of how he ended up here. So, yeah, I know it was the same ones when I was there, and that was 6 years ago ish. Yeah, Logan 6. So, yeah, 6 years ago. So,
So I guess I had a follow-up question that would be, why did you guys end up choosing Dylan and not the other places, or but why the private sector and not the public sector? Yep. Dee?
I can go. So I went to Waterloo. So I had 6 co-op terms, and half of them were with public. So I worked for City of Mississauga and MTO, and then the other half were private. So my first one was with Continental Tire, which is not civil related, and then the other 2 were with Dylan. For me, I wanted to get my PEng quickly, and I wanted to have the design knowledge behind my PEng. And I found that with MTO and public sector work, it was more about reviews and more of like a management side of things, as opposed to actually learning about the design and being able to speak knowledge, like have a good knowledge of the background on the design. And that's what you do in private consulting. So that's definitely why I chose to start my career out with Dylan instead of going public.
yeah, to that of the PEng, with you, Ahmed, I know, as I said, I had a friend who worked for Coco for about 8 years. When he applied for his PEng, he actually struggled to get it approved because he was working for a contractor and it was not design theory type work that he did. He was a superintendent for the paving. And even though he could go through a lot of in-depth stuff about paving and asphalt mixes and how you do things and all of that, because he didn't have the theoretical design type knowledge, he actually struggled to get approved as a PEng.
Oh.
Just a FYI on that one.
Yeah,
And I'll
thank
say from like our experience at Dylan, anybody I've seen submit their application for their PEng has never had difficulty within our transportation team anyways. So the same, because I did the rotating co-op. So mine was MTO Dylan, and they were called Huron Construction. They got bought by, I can't remember who it is, but they're in Chatham area anyways. My experience was super fun when I was working with them anyways. I got to drive a lot of equipment. I did have to work in like the paving testing, like where you take pavement samples and test them. That really sucked. So I don't know, Matt, if you had to do any of that stuff with Coco at all, but that's super boring. I
No.
chose, no.
Some students did. I did not.
Yeah. I chose Dylan similar to Heidi for the same reasons, basically. I really wanted to get into design. I think that design is very important part of being able to manage a large infrastructure project. It's very difficult to manage a project without actually having the basic understanding of the design of it, I think, because then you actually, once you've worked on a project from all aspects, you kind of have an idea of what all goes into that. So that's even though at MTO you get into project management, and that's what I'm doing here, I have a bunch of that design to back it up.
Awesome. Yeah, Ash.
So I didn't do the rotation because of exactly what Matt said. I wasn't good enough at Van Shaw. But what I learned from my working in the public sector with City of London, County of Brant, County of Elgin, there's a big trend of them looking to get people in the private sector. Everyone who got hired had a big background in the private sector. And that's just a rule of thumb that I was taught is get your experience in the private sector. And if you want to move into the public sector, you at least have a very strong background and you know what you're talking about and looking at.
Yeah, thanks everybody for. Oh, Heidi.
I just want to add, like, I think it's so great that you're doing like this rotation because for me, I don't have like an experience with a contractor. So now in my professional career, I'm kind of struggling with the constructability aspect of the designs. So like, I think it's an amazing thing you're doing. And that's just something to keep in mind when you're doing like your contractor rotation. Like you can see how they're constructing it and take that and use that if you want to come back to design afterwards. So I think it's awesome.
You're right. Awesome. Good discussion, guys. Go back to our agenda. In terms of CAD corner, if anybody has any concerns or comments regarding CAD they want to bring up.
I have a question, and it's just if anybody else has experienced this, not so much CAD, but auto turn. Does anybody who does use it, do you use it with CAD or do you use it with Civil 3D? And does it make a difference in terms of the program? I'm just asking because I've been trying to use it today and it just crashes every 15 minutes on me.
I always use it with Civil 3D.
You do?
Same here. Yeah.
Okay.
Mine seems to
Yeah,
be
same
crashing
here.
though too. After like just randomly, it'll stop. It'll freeze on me, and I have to restart it for some reason. But I don't know if that's.
Is that-
It seems like a new thing to be honest, but I don't know.
It doesn't like backing up.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of turning movements where I've had to simulate backing up, and it does not like that. It usually crashes.
Do you use like, do you draw a polyline and then select that path, or do you use it like moving one like point after the other? Like
I've done both.
I've found that if you're doing either or, to turn off the O snap, because it will accidentally snap to something like far away and then it'll freeze and crash and shut down. Because I've been using it today and I haven't had an issue. But yeah, when my O snap's on, it's just a mess. So
Yeah, Ash, go ahead.
You're on mute.
You're muted.
Sorry, guys. This might be a stupid question, but when I have my snap on and I'm going over like a survey point, is there any way to reduce the latency that I get from doing that? Or does everyone else experience just that few seconds where you can't do anything until you move your
It's just
cursor
the
off?
reality with 3D.
Yeah,
If
okay.
it's because it's on a base, you're gonna want to flatten your base if that's an option for you. But
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I usually just take off snap if I'm running into that a lot.
Yeah, I find it also depends on how large the file is. We've gotten into some where I've worked on a few where there's just so much going on within that drawing set that anything I did, survey or not related, it just took forever to move and lagged so bad. So
Thanks.
Is that the Colonel Talbot one that you're in, Ash?
That's every file that I'm in.
Okay. I know.
But I've only been in like Colonel Talbot and Dorchester, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought for Colonel Talbot we had flattened it all, but maybe not.
we blame Veronica. She screwed up both of those.
Thanks, Scott.
Anytime. Anytime.
I never said I was perfect.
No, it's
I
not
got
so
you.
bad. It's not so bad. The base layer is not bad at all.
Right. OTM updates. Veronica, Matt, if you had any announcements to make this month.
I guess one of the things that we'll talk about on Monday, but maybe we'll bring it up with all of you because I think some of you are guilty of this. IDPs. I have a feeling that it might not be some of you, but maybe it's your advisors that need to review and sign off. So just a reminder, when you have your advisor sessions, to make sure you're talking to them about your IDPs, because we will be following up soon about getting all of those approved and making sure everybody has one. Anything else to say, Matt?
Sorry.
Any other update?
Damn updates. Sorry. Yes, I'm working on other things while we're talking. Sorry. It's a horrible habit. No, I don't think so. IDPs, we're moving those forward, and yeah, it's going to become a priority for us. So thank you to those of you who do have yours done, and those of you who are delinquent or do not have one started. I'm in the same boat. Let's try and get them done in the next little bit. Yeah, other than that, I don't think I got much else to say.
Oh, just filling out your workflow planning for the next few weeks. Matt will be sending out that email today, I think.
On the list.
All right. Thanks, Veronica and Matt. Next item's just going to be a farewell from myself. For those of you that don't know, it's my last day with Dylan tomorrow. Gotta go back to school early, fortunately, this time around. Some of you I've met in the office, some of you I haven't. It's been a fun 4 months with Dylan. Learned a lot. Maybe sometime I'll be back in the future, but the best of luck to all of you. And next meeting is going to be Omer. Omer is unfortunately not able to make the call at the moment, so I'll let him know. And yeah, any other items to discuss? We'll have a quick roundtable. Yeah, Veronica.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you very much, Ahmed, for joining us for the summer. I will apologize. I know your first couple months were a little rough. I know for both you and Kislam, you were a little slow, but you guys were troopers through it, reading RFPs and reviewing how to do quantities and everything. So thank you for hanging on with us. And I hope I'm getting into some of the roadside safety and working on Cedar View, the drawings, that you're able to get a bit of experience that way as well. So just want to say thank you. It's been a pleasure having you here with us. So it's great. And we wish you all the best. You're going to do your surveying course, right?
Yeah, I'm heading back for that. It starts Monday.
I thought that course was a lot of fun. I don't know, Hannah, if you think the same or not. You would have just done it not that long ago.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. And it was also like right after COVID. So seeing people again in person was really nice. But yeah, it was good.
And you will do a lot of work on your CAD skills there as well. So that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, guys. There's no other comments to make. We'll just call it the end here. Yeah, Veronica. Yeah, go ahead.
Umair is not going to be able to chair the September 2023 meeting. So I was wondering, how does everybody feel if we just move up the schedule by 1 month? Are you okay with that, Hannah? You would be the next one then?
Yeah, that works. I have no idea what I'm going to do it on yet, but I can figure that out.
That's perfect. We're always here to support you and help you come up with ideas as well. Okay.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Feel free to reach out to us.
Will he be coming back in October, or should
You're
I
up
move
for
up to?
October.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Everyone's just going to move up.
All right.
Yes. And as Veronica said, feel free to reach out to us. We can help you get together an agenda, discuss topics with you, that sort of thing. Ahmed, I was going to say bye to. Veronica said most of what so I'll just say ditto on that one. It was a pleasure having you guys here. You now, guess some of you are coming up soon. So it was a pleasure to have you guys